Virginians were sold a bill of goods. They were told that a map that would hand Democrats 10 of Virginia's 11 seats in Congress was fairness. The people who will have to live with the consequences of this map saw it for what it was on Tuesday, and they turned out and they fought against it. And they were almost enough. But the dark money from out of state, the activist interest groups, and the D.C. politicians barely dragged this amendment over the line. And now this fight moves from the ballot box to the courthouse. But before the courts decide it, Virginians deserve to know exactly what was done to get this scheme on the ballot before them this past Tuesday. In 2020, we as Virginians voted to get rid of the redistricting business, to take it away from politicians, and to end gerrymandering in Virginia. And in 2021, the Supreme Court of Virginia approved maps drawn in an apolitical and nonpartisan way. Those maps gave Virginia what Virginia actually is, a fairly closely divided state with divided representation. But the governor wanted a map that would hand her party 10 of Virginia's 11 seats in Congress. And she couldn't make that case to the voters straight up and honestly. So they rigged the process that went before the voters. And let's start with the special session. It was supposed to be about the budget, but they stretched it out for nearly 2 years and then used it to push a constitutional amendment on this gerrymandering. That was unlawful. And the trial court held that that process was void from the very start. Let's look at the timing of this scheme. By the time they pushed this amendment through in October of 2025, early voting had already started and more than 1 million Virginians had already voted. The Constitution requires an intervening general election between the first legislative passage of an amendment and the second. And the trial court held that the next valid election to actually proceed with this process is not until 2027. You don't change the rules after the game has already started. If you did that in sports, it's called cheating. If you did it in business, it's called fraud. And when politicians do it, it's a rigged process. Then look at the notice requirement. Virginia law very clearly requires that this amendment had to be posted and published months before any election could take place. They didn't do it. And when they got caught, they didn't pull the scheme back. They tried to rewrite the law in the middle of session